Situate yourself accordingly.
A little bit. How's that for height and volume? Good?
Good.
Okay, great. Okay, I have no music stands, so I'm going to use my arms, and it's going to work. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Healey, for the introduction. Thanks to Revue Fantastico for having me and organizing this awesome night. My name is Zaren, and as Healey mentioned, I write a lot about gender and feminism in art and culture, and I'm a founder of the Feminism's Reframed St. John's Feminist Art Show, annual since 2015. Several years ago, as part of my emerging interest in gender and feminist studies, I did an English course in contemporary feminist theater. It was my first focused introduction into feminist art more broadly, and caused me to ask, what makes art, be it theater, dance, film, visual art, or any creative art practice of any kind, feminist? Is it more about the content and the themes explored, or is it about who is doing it and how it is made? For example, I'm thinking about, hypothetically, a play featuring women actors, very feminist themes, that's completely written, directed, and produced by men, versus a play with men and women actors that is not explicitly feminist, but is women involved and represented, or maybe even dominating on the creative side. One of my favorite films, probably because it upset men's rights activists so much that their culture was being attacked by feminists, is Mad Max Fury Road. I've talked a lot about this film.
Witness!
A lot.
I literally just predicted that that's what you were going to say.
I've talked about this film a lot in the last few years, and probably some of you have been in some of those talks, as an example of the backlash on the part of men on the internet who, there's a few things they don't want. They do not want to see empowering narratives for women. They do not want to see male-dominated culture challenged. This is an interesting film, while directed by a man and mostly, I think, written by men, and involving a minimally speaking or plot-driving main male character. It features women characters predominantly as plot drivers, as war rig drivers, all kinds of drivers, and as explicit feminist themes around the objectification of women by men and patriarchy's destruction of civilization and the planet. Legit. But also, it was edited by a woman, Margaret Sixel, who also happened to be the director's partner, and she won the Academy Award for film editing in 2016. George Miller said he didn't want it to look like every other action movie, and he thought that it was really important to have a woman at the editing desk for that purpose. This new field of study has really introduced me and so many other people that are interested in feminist art to exploring how, under patriarchy, art and culture, like all other aspects of human culture and existence, have of course marginalized and excluded the contributions of women and marginalized people. So when we look at what we think makes great art, makes a film great, makes a novel great, what we consider to be meaningful, valid, or great contributions to art and culture, we can benefit from a feminist lens to understand how our perceptions and our evaluations, how we've been raised, to understand taste, to understand value, have been influenced by cultures that have disproportionately centered and rewarded men. While doing the Master of Gender Studies program at MUN in 2015, I wanted to do an art show, primarily visual art, that would be explicitly feminist. Through the course of developing this with the co-lead for the program and our other volunteer organizers, together we explored how a feminist art show isn't just about the themes and topics that we grapple with through the artworks themselves, not what's painted on the canvas, but about how art can be feminist through the means of its creation. It can be an active practice of making feminist art. A show that is organized around some feminist principles, such as including based on interest, based on first come, first serve, based on space capacity, rather than taking a more evaluating approach to the art itself, such as considering the inclusion and more the prioritization of art in a gallery space by women and people marginalized by their gender as inherently political and feminist. Feminist art, in particular feminist theater, dance, performance, and all that invokes and uses and centers the body, are pivotal in feminist practice, resistance, expression, and creating and owning our role, our space in culture. I recently had the chance to speak at the V-Day St. John's Vagina Monologues And to pull a little something from there, I said, women and all genders and identities marginalized under patriarchy need to be on stage. Center stage. They need to be backstage. They need to be writing, producing, directing, editing, managing, creating, art making in every form. Making our theater, making our film, our television, our literature, our visual art, our performance, our music, creating and consuming culture. Making art that is political because of who is making it. Thank you for coming out tonight to watch a bunch of art created and presented and performed by people who are not cisgender men. For me, a way I've connected a lot to art that centers women is through women's poetry. So I'm going to read 3 poems for you now by some nasty women, each exploring some aspect of the speaker's womanhood, femininity, or experience in very different ways. All right. Food of Love by Carolyn Kaiser. I'm going to murder you with love. I'm going to suffocate you with embraces. I'm going to hug you bone by bone till you're dead all over. Then I will dine on your delectable marrow. You will become my personal Sahara. I'll sun myself in you, then with one swallow drain your remaining brackish well. With my female blade, I'll carve my name in your most aspiring palm before I chop it down. Then I'll inhale your last oasis whole. But in the total desert you become, you'll see me stretch horizon to horizon, opulent mirage, wisteria balconies dripping cyclamen, vistas ablaze with crystal laced in gold. So you will summon each dry grain of sand and move toward me in undulating dunes till you arrive at sudden ultramarine, a Mediterranean to stroke your dusty shores. Obstinate verdure, creeping inland, fast renews, your barrens, succulent spring up everywhere, surprising life, and I will be that green. When you are fed and watered, flourishing with shoots entwining trellis, dome, and spire, till you are a resurrected field in bloom, I will devour you, my most natural food, my host, my final supper on the earth, and you'll begin to die again. I'm going to have to get some water.
There's a stool back there on which you may perch your
Thank you
beverage.
so much. That is a lifesaver. I was starting to lose the ability to form words. All right. This is one some of you may know, Spinster by Sylvia Plath. Now, this particular girl, during a ceremonious April walk with her latest suitor, found herself of a sudden intolerably struck by the birds' irregular babble and the leaves' litter. By this tumult afflicted, she observed her lover's gestures unbalance the air, his straight, gay uneven. Through a rank wilderness of fern and flower, she judged petals in disarray, the whole season sloven. How she longed for winter then, scrupulously austere in its order of white and black ice and rock, each sentiment without border, and heart's frosty discipline exact as a snowflake. But here, a burgeoning, unruly enough to pitch her 5 queenly wits into vulgar motley, a treason not to be born, let idiots reel giddy in bedlam spring, she withdrew neatly. And round her house she set such a barricade of barb and check against mutinous weather, as no mere insurgent man could hope to break with curse, fist, threat, or love either. What Do Women Want by Kim Adonisio. I want a red dress. I want it flimsy and cheap. I want it too tight. I want to wear it until someone tears it off me. I want it sleeveless and backless, the dress, so no one has to guess what's underneath. I want to walk down the street past Thrifty's and the hardware store with all those keys glittering in the window, past Mr. and Mrs. Wong selling day-old donuts in their cafe, past the Guerra brothers slinging pigs from the truck and onto the dolly, hoisting the slick snouts all over their shoulders. I want to walk like I'm the only